Hey everybody, it's Uzi from the Option Selling Institute. And before I get into the meat and potatoes of the video, I need to say that everything contained in this video is not financial advice. It's just for informational purposes only. Stock and options can and will lose you money, so please see your financial advisor. Okay, let's get into what I wanted to bring to you in the chart. The retail sector has certain sections that have been severely beaten down, and some of the stocks in the sector have actually buoyed and done pretty well and stayed above ground during the whole sell-off. The one I'm going to talk about with you tonight, though, is very beaten down. It's one of the most hated retail stocks out there, and I do think it's time for a turnaround. I'm going to go over some technicals with you, give you what I'm seeing, what I think, and I'll share with you some of my prior results from some videos I did in the past, back in 2024, and the results there were pretty astounding when you see where they are today. So let's get right into what I want to bring to you. And let me just make sure my drawing tool is set up so that I can be able to clarify things for you guys well. Okay, so the company I want to talk to you about is in obviously the retail sector. They're in malls. They're very big and they do billions of dollars in business. It's Abercrombie and Fitch. They've been beaten down with the tariff implications. They did have a share buyback announced in their prior earnings report, and then in this most recent earnings report, they had pretty good earnings, and the stock gapped up. I don't know. I think it was up 30% overnight. It did sell off. There was some profit taking, and it was pretty brutal, to be honest with you. So that's why I think it's a good buy at the levels I'm going to show you. All right. So these are some of the facts and figures behind things. And I want to show you first, though, the retail sector ETF. Okay. And this is RTH. And you can see back in April this is the daily chart. We did have the sell off from the tariff tantrums and what was going on in the market. Everything was selling. And it did bottom out in April. We had this huge daily engulfing. And then it's never looked back to those previous lows yet. We've made a series of higher highs on this daily, and it broke over horizontal resistance over here. It came back and retested it. Okay. And as you can see on the chart, I mean, right now it looks like it's ready to start just going a little bit more sideways before it takes off. Now, this was key. Once it broke this resistance level and came back and tested it right here, you can see now that this is in a new uptrend, and this has some power building up. The volume profile is pretty good. It's pulling back on some low volume, and it looks like it's going to do, like I said, a little bit more of a pullback before it starts to move higher into the high 200, maybe 255 area. All right. Let's take a look at it on the weekly chart. Now, the weekly shows something interesting as well. Now, we see where it bottomed out in April, and that did so on high volume, and it also held an area which it held in the past. So this was a very strong area to have held. And if I wish I would have been watching this whole ETF at the time, because this area was very, very strong support. So once it held, now you can see how the weekly is back above the 50-day moving average here in yellow. Okay, it's above all of the major moving averages that I watch. Okay, and it's right about to take on this diagonal resistance trend line. And once it does, it's going to attack that upper Bollinger Band. So right now on the weekly, this is a beautiful pattern. And again, so it's got two time frames that are looking great, daily and the weekly. And now we're just talking about the ETF of the retail sector. But again, if you're contemplating an investment or a trade in a stock, you want to be going with the trend in that sector if you can. And right now, the sector in the RTH is pretty strong. Okay, so I wanted to just lay that groundwork for you. All right, let's look at ANF. Now, this is the daily on ANF, and you can see what I was talking about over here when we had the earnings gap. This was the earnings gap right here. It gapped all the way up to about 106, and it was entering prior resistance. So that's why it couldn't get through. It didn't have enough juice, even though it had a lot of volume down here on their earnings. Okay, it just couldn't get through. A lot of sellers, a lot of shorts in this stock. I forget this short interest off the top of my head, but I think it's somewhere around 12 to 15%. So that's huge. So the shorts piled back in. We had profit takers who were trying to get in this thing because, as you can see on the daily, once it bottomed out over here in April as well, it's made a series of higher highs, okay? Higher highs, I'm sorry, here, and then higher lows over here. And it's got a new uptrend line, and it's about to take on horizontal resistance. And this is the last 2 days of the week that we just had, where we had a thrust right off the 50-day moving average, and then a small little gap up on Friday, and it closed right on the highs. So ANF is looking super strong on the daily. Volume hasn't even picked up yet. So once volume starts to pick up, again, volume is right now very, very low. So you can see that with very low volume, price has jumped from about 78 and it's at 82 this past week. Okay. It came all the way down, tested the 50-day moving average, tested that uptrend line, and now it's pushing back to the upside. So I anticipate either this week or next it's going to probably break above, start to go a little bit sideways before it can garnish some energy and head back up toward this $100 resistance level area. All right, let's take a look at this on the weekly, and it gets a little bit nicer here. So on the weekly, we've got a lot going on. And I've called this my my bullish thesis. Actually, let me move this over a little bit so you can see it. There you go. Okay. So what we've got going on here is a lot, actually. You've got, first of all, it made a new high, a new high for the last 12 weeks. Okay, so that's very impressive. So it closed this last week, okay, higher than it has in the previous 12 weeks leading up to this, or 3 months. That's a nice amount of time for a nice long base, which happens to be, by the way, a cup and handle. And it just broke out of the handle this past week on the weekly, as you can see. Okay. Price held the 200-day moving average as it came down on this huge sell-off on the weekly. Okay. So it came down hard on the weekly, came down to the 200-day, bounced around on it for about 5 weeks, tried to get back up and over, couldn't, came back, retested, and now it's on the up move. It's breaking out from that cup and handle, like I just said, and it's also exiting the oversold levels on the RSI. We have a weekly MACD crossover about 2-3 weeks ago, okay? And we've got a rising, increasing histogram, all bullish. So I'm seeing everything technically with this stock to the bull side. Okay, the short interest is very high. That's another bullish thesis. And we've got the fact that they've had good earnings, and tariffs now are pretty much a non-issue, I believe, going forward. I think they've had enough time to figure out what might affect their bottom line with tariffs, and with the administration backing off on a lot of the tariff talk and lowering tariffs on other nations. That also seems to be turning into a somewhat of a non-event. Now, I want to talk about a video I did back in December, late December, and you can find it on my YouTube channel. Maybe I'll leave a link in the description, but I put a video out on the best dollar stocks to own this year. Okay, and again, this was done in December of last year, and the three names were Dollar Tree, Dollar General, and Five Below. Okay, these three here, 1, 2, 3, and you can see now their performance for the last week, month, 3 months, 6 months, and year to date. So just for this year alone, year to date, from January until right now, Dollar Tree is up 24.95%. Dollar General is up 48.73%, and Five Below is up 21.2%. So I don't do a lot of videos, talking about stocks in general, and I'm certainly not trying to sell you any stock, but I think this one has some good potential. And it's certainly oversold, just like these three were oversold. And if you have time, go back and watch that video, because it really illustrates a lot of the similar things I'm talking about right now. All right, so with that, I would like to just let you guys know I do run a Discord. We've got a great bunch of traders there. We have a lot of experienced traders, and we have a lot of newer traders. We have traders there with a lot of money, millions, and we have a lot of traders there with smaller accounts. So we've got strategies for every account size. We are primarily premium sellers, but we do go long and we do go short, whether it's stock, calls, or puts. We also trade unusual option activity, something I did years ago. I'm back into it. We also have that now part of our trading strategies. Now, the thing about that, though, is the unusual option activity is that I'm very picky. So, out of all of the alerts I see all day long, I'm very picky. I cherry pick them, and we don't go big on those. So when we're gonna put a little bit of a lotto trade on, it's usually for a very small amount managed risk, manageable risk. And we haven't yet, but we will stop out of those instead of letting them, let's say, just expire. So we're not going to lose everything on one of those trades, and we give it enough time to work, and we're doing pretty well with it so far. All right, let me just show you some reviews from some of the members. And I just wanted to really go over the main thing, and that is that every review that they're showing here and all the reviews on my Watt page, if you'd like to go there, they're all 5 stars, and that's because every trade is thoroughly processed through a screening process. It has to pass, or we don't do a trade. That goes for my earnings trades. It goes for every type of a trade that we're going to do. If it doesn't pass the test, I don't put trades out. So I'm not just putting out trades for the sake of filling up the room with alerts. It's got to pass the test for a reasonable risk to reward, and if it does, we're in it. All right. So if you guys want to give my place a try, let me know. You can reach out to me either on Twitter. This is the offer I'm doing right now. It's $99 a month. You get a lot of trades. You get at least up to 40 of my own trades, and then you have got experienced guys in the room putting out their trades. I'm always available 24/7 if you need help. I do mentoring on the side if you need that. We do, like I said, personal spec trades, bonus trades, earnings trades, futures trades. Again, we mainly sell premium, but we also do try to take advantage of this market, which is moving. With the volatility we have here, we're taking advantage of it with some long positions as well. All right, this is I think it's a great deal. And you can reach out to me again on Twitter, or you can try to use this link here on WAP.com, Theta Profits with Uzi, or you can just look up Option Selling Institute and go from there. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment. Please like and subscribe if you don't mind. I'm trying to build the channel so I can bring you guys great information like this, so you can maybe get in and make some money as well, right along. And with that, this is Uzi signing out. Thanks for watching, and good luck this upcoming trading week.